kind of far away, honey. Want me to bring it up some? Because I didn't know it was going to get all my little... That it was going to get all my little sleep clothes and stuff. That's better. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this thing right. Let me see if I can work with it. Hold on, y'all. Trying to get this thing resite. Hey, look into the thing so I can see what's up. All right. That's good enough. What's up, y'all? What's happening? What's up, Memphis in the house? Get this thing right. Honey.
I'm checking.
What's up, what's up? You don't say nothing?
How you guys doing?
What's up?
Is Dub in the house?
Back in action, you gotta go ahead. That goes into a different conversation. You have to hit me on my email. We can talk about some things. What up, what up? When you come in, like, make sure when you come in you like.
Hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We don't want to see 100 watching and 16 likes.
Yeah, I've been through Memphis. I didn't stay a long time, but I've been through there for sure. Yeah. Prez, what's up, boy? I ain't seen you in a minute. Thank you for that 25 kicking it off. Good to see you back, fam. Somebody say hey, bro. What's going on?
Hey.
You want to come up or no? Just sit
I
back
can't
there.
see.
Yeah, because you got to come up. Yeah, stay right there so I can fix the camera. You got to stay up a little
That's
bit.
good right there.
Okay, if you stay into the camera, it's good. Let me see. You like that better or this better? Ah, that's good. Anton, what's up, Woody? When you guys come in, you like. They said, Mama said she cool where she at. Yeah, but she's still under this instruction. No, I'm playing. Dwayne, thank you for that 20, fam. Kicking it off. Cap, thank you for that 20, fam. C. Douglas, thank you for that 5. Atlanta in the house. James Brightwell. We doing good. Kareem.
You know, little bits always nearby.
Fast a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get started in a minute about building. Dre, thank you for that 5, family. Dre Henley. Larry Harris, shout out to your family. Dwan Davis, I'm all right, family, I'm all right. Oh, you getting that,
Right.
reading that Midman, huh? Yes, sir. My pops, boy. Michael Wesley, thank you for that 3, fam. Calvin McDougal, what's up, baby? Yeah, we ready to get into it. What's up? I'm a Z. Stop spying on me, Cal. What's up with it? We're going to wait a little bit longer. Let more folks come into the room. We're going to get started. Going to get started talking about building around here. What it takes. What it takes to build. What it takes to build, boy. The process.
Whew.
That's good. I'm loving that. Dwan Davis. Yes, sir. Loco. How you pronounce that name over here in front? This one. Toku.
Tokumba.
Tokumba, I believe. That's what Dove said. Shout out for that 5. See, Jizzle the Great, thank you for that 5, baby. Thank you. We're trying to do what we can. Keep pressing this hard line, you know. Keep pressing this hard line.
Thank you, Calvin.
Thank you for that 20, fam. Just a little while longer, we get it rocking, you guys. We're gonna get it rocking. Me and Dove tonight. I haven't had her on for a long time to release her measure. Why are you looking at me like, what's, girl? Got to be a man first. Keith Michaels, thank you for that 5. Tell D I'm doing daily 5. Oh, you can't, huh? You can text him and say, stop calling. Doing daily 5. When you guys come in, you like. When you come in, you like. Me and Dub about to get it cracking. Yes, sir. Yeah, God has been good. We've had our challenges, Pierre, but the Most High is great. Hi, Tiffany. She said, great inspiration, Dub. You better bring some heat tonight, girl.
Oh, okay. All right, girl, all right.
Yeah, you better bring some heat tonight.
I'm going to bring the truth.
Okay, well, that should be heat. Rio de Janeiro in the house. What's happening with it, H-Town? Tony Davis, what's up? Troy D, thank you for that 30, fam.
Thank you.
When you guys come in, like. When you come in, like. I think somebody said earlier, talk about some of the struggles I think I seen earlier. Oh, we're going to talk about everything. You know? Everything. Aloha, what's up? How you guys doing out there in Hawaii? I know for the first time ever it was snowing in Maui. And me and Dove was about to go over there for a vacation and try to get away from this snow.
At the same time.
And then it starts snowing in Maui.
Right.
What do you mean?
Wasn't meant.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll let people get caught up and we'll get into the message a little bit. You know, I like share the video, you guys. Tiffany's right. Share it so other people can get involved, know that we on here. Share the video and like it, you know, so that we can get some of that other remnant out there to be a part of it. Hey, Brother Dre, ready to get these lessons, yeah. Los Angeles checking in, ain't no question. So I like bringing Dove on periodically, you know, so that I can come back to basics about building black relationships. And I know I've said this, a lot of you who are not new to Daily Fires, and some of you are, you know what I'm saying? And some of you are wondering, what is Dove? Where does she come from? Is she Middle Eastern? What is Dove? I'll let her tell you what she is.
Ta-da! I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
People always say, Dre, you didn't have to tell us that, but look, out of everything we experienced, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So it comes from, the reason why we keep reiterating that is because of the experiences. The things that I've experienced, he's experienced, even in the state of Washington. I don't really experience it that much in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. But you would think out here in the land of biracial and interracial children and marriages out here in the state of Washington, you would think they would know, but they don't. And if they do, a lot of the black people out here really don't know their culture, and then there's a lot of hang-ups. So it's had to be addressed a few times. So yeah, people either they don't know, or they don't want to know, or they don't care to know. And that's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah, her father is black, her mom is white, and just a lot of times I want to kind of open it up with that because I know some people out there that are unfamiliar with the page get into this. You having jungle fever, and if it was my choice, I'll have that too. I've had white women, Asian women, Mexican women. I've had all kind of women. It's just so happened that God blessed me with the ultimate woman, and she happens to be a black woman. The wonderful thing about us is we come in 16 different shades. 16 different shade colors of black people. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even know why anybody would want anything outside of us, because if you want something dark, we got it. You want something
Come in all different
caramel,
shades.
we got it. You want something light, we got it. We got everything you could want in our communities that could satisfy whatever desire you may have. We got it amongst black women. So, it is what it is. Everything mixed with black is turned to black. I love that. But anyway, let me see where I want to start off. I think I've covered some of this before when Dove and I met in 1998. I was on the run, and I was in the game. She was square. I was living in Vegas, and went to the Super Bowl out there when Denver was playing Green Bay. And just trying to come up with some money because the police had came into my house and seized all my property and all that kind of stuff. So I was looking, Young, thank you for that 10. I was looking for an opportunity of how I could hustle up some money to face this legal situation I was having. So I went to Vegas for the Super Bowl because Super Bowl times and events like that, there's lots of money up there. So I went up there and, I was thinking about all the things that I had gone through, what I had accomplished, and I was just tired, And I was in a hotel room and I said, man, I just want to just do something different, And I just said, I'm going to go to a little club or something because it was a whole bunch of people and tourists in town. So I went to this club called the Blue Tattoo, and that's where I met Dove at. She really didn't go out often, but she was out there with a friend, and so that's how we met, And when I met her, at that point, because I was so at my end from the game, having gone through all this, now I got to go back and face some legal issues. I was just tired. I didn't want no more. I was like, I'm done. I'm good. What more can I do that I've already done in the game? And my mind frame was different because I was wore out and I was exhausted. Kind of like I am right now. Kind of like I'm exhausted now from all the work that we've been doing in Washington, and I'm at a place right now that I'm ready to transition. You know what I'm saying? To take it to somewhere else. I felt like I've done all that I could do here, and set the precedent and put things in motion for people to take over from here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of tired because I put so much energy in these last 3 years, and I'm like at my end. You know what I'm saying? And need to be restored, need some time to get back into the lab and to structure out some of the next moves I want to make, and particularly for our people. So that's where I was back in 1998. I was at a transition point where I was tired. I wasn't trying to go back there. I didn't know really how I was going to transition into something different, but I knew that I was tired. I was just tired. So I went to the club, I met Dove, and we danced, and it was beautiful, and had a good time. And she gave me her number, and I called her. How long? When did I call you? About a week later?
It was about a week.
Yeah, about a week later, and then we chopped it up on the phone for a week after that before I went over and saw her. And that's how it began. And fate is something crazy because it presents things to you. Let me say this to you. And I got to give you this backstory to let you know where I was and where my mind frame was, and why I was able to not only look for an opportunity to transition out the game, but expect an opportunity to come, right? Some people are never looking for that. But the reason why I was looking for it, because my dad was talking to me, and I think I shared this with you guys before, but I need to explain it to you again. My dad was talking to me one time about a woman that he fell in love with, and her name was Gloria. And he was in the game doing his thing, hitting them real good. And he met Gloria, and you never know what one is going to be that just captures you in a different kind of way. And Gloria captured him in that different kind of way, where he was struggling to be with Gloria or to totally get out the game. And it was a struggle for a long time, because later on, my uncle and my aunt was telling me, everybody was concerned about my dad, like, what's going on with Mel? He's really tripping, he's really caught up. But he was struggling with this transition, and he really didn't know how to make it. So he had took Gloria out to Ohio, out there to stay with my grandma, my great-grandma, Mom Myrtle. Mom Myrtle raised my father, because my father's mom, my grandmother, died when he was 2 years old. So Mom Myrtle, his grandmother, raised him. So my dad loved Gloria so much, he wanted her to go meet Mom Myrtle and stay out there for a while he was trying to get himself together about what he wanted to do within the game. So ultimately, as he was trying to decide, he made a decision to stay in the game. And I told my dad that that was probably the worst decision that he ever made. My dad had one picture that he would have above his fireplace mantle, and it was a picture of Gloria, and he had that picture there until the day that he died. You know what I'm saying? And I told my dad that that was a mistake, man. That fate in God, or whatever you want to say, was giving you an opportunity to build something at that point, but you didn't see it as an opportunity, and you lost that opportunity. And for the rest of your life, you suffered because the woman that you knew was there for you. However the situation came about, you missed the opportunity. So I told him, as much as I admire you, as much as I respect you, I will not make that mistake that you made. I will not make the mistake of my opportunity to build at that point, right? And he made that mistake, and I always told him, because of that mistake that you made, it made me make the right decision when I made Dove, when I really realized that it was kind of the same situation that my dad was going through with Gloria. Because I wasn't looking for it, it just happened organically. But you have to realize it. I mean, I was expecting something, but I wasn't at that point looking to transition out the game, right? So when it came to me, remember, I was at my lowest end. They had took all my property. They had seized everything from me, and they took all my clothes. They took everything. So I didn't meet Dove at my high. I met her after I was stripped from everything. You know what I'm saying? I had nothing. So she had to deal with me in my raw, without jewelry, without, cars. They seized everything from me, right? So I was just, all I can present to you is who I am, right? And it was genius that the Most High made it happen that way. Because at the end of the day, you want somebody to care for you and want you for you, right? So I used to tell my dad, that mistake that you made, make me not make the same mistake. When Dove came along, I was able to realize that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, at the end, you guys don't know when to transition, and it's tragic. Because you guys feel that the game is designed to do forever, and it's really not. Lars, thank you for that. It's really not. The game has always been set up as a young man's game. To get you some finances, to get you a nest egg of money so that you can use that and maneuver into doing something else. You know what I'm saying? That's what the game is designed for. Not for you to be in it forever, because, once you get to the pinnacle, you can only go down from there unless you transition. So I just wanted to put that out there, what frame of mind I was in when the situation organically happened. I wasn't looking for it, but I still had an expectation that it could happen. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to take advantage of that because what my dad wasn't able to take advantage of. So his error made me make the right decision. And over 20 years later, Dove and I are married over 20 years later, have built over 20 years later through a lot of things that we've gone through in life. Thank you for that $2. So Dove, what you want to say, take it from there? You want to talk about when we met and you know, what that was like or what transition that was? Or
Actually, on the 24th of this month, we'll be together 21 years.
Mhm.
I know we talked about it last time, so I don't want to talk too extensively
But everybody,
on it.
there's new people in the room.
Yeah, I mean, when I met Andre,
You want to come up? A
I
little
wasn't really, looking for anybody. I was just in a state of being stuck. I was actually with somebody who was incarcerated at the time, so yeah, I was not looking for anybody. But when I met him at the Blue Tattoo,
Thanks, Tony, for that 20.
there was, I don't know what it was. He's already a good talker, but he just said all the right things that made me feel like I wanted to give him my phone number, which is something that I never did.
That's game.
Yeah, it is.
That was some
Because
game.
even the guy that I was with, my friend that I was with at the club, even though we went there together, he didn't even have my phone number. So, but he worked right down the street from me at a particular bank. So, yeah, I mean, I said in one of our videos that the thing about having a faith and a belief is that what happens is that when you're given something and you recognize it and then you run with it, what'll happen is you'll find out that what you thought you wanted or needed is not even what you needed or wanted at all. You might have wanted it, but you couldn't see the package that it came in. And so when I met Andre, I hate saying Andre. When I met,
Oh, you can't just throw that out there. And then,
I know, I hate saying that. Every time I say Andre, it feels so awkward. But when I met him, it was like, okay, as things progressed, there was just this this magnetism and this information that was being poured, and it made me want to explore even further. And what I felt like right off the bat when talking to him that week that we talked on the phone, it was something totally different. These conversations I've never had with any other man. And it was something so different, and it just like lit me up. It woke me up. It made me feel like every time I talked to him, I just wanted more. And I know a lot of you guys can attest to that. It doesn't have to be sexual. It doesn't have to be anything pertaining to, I want to sleep with you or how we going to get together. It was just that the same information that he pours out to you guys on Daily Fire and other people that he life coaches. It was like this deep rooted talking, this talking about past relationships, and just being able to talk about things that you would never share with another man or in another relationship, things that people hide from each other. We were able from the very beginning, because of his knowledge and information, he knew how to get those things out of me. So even when we started on our journey in our relationship, most of the things that I had been through and experienced, we already discussed and talked about. So when he came, I didn't think that we would be married. I had been in multiple relationships with dudes that didn't have a grunion of the information, and for various different reasons, as we all do. But I was at a point in my life of feeling like my life was over. And I, again, talked about this in one of my own videos when I had my Love Dove channel on Facebook. Why women end up in particular relationships and stay there. But when he came, it was like, okay. And after us talking for so long, and he came over to my house, and the first time he came over, we were pretty much inseparable after that. Because he said this one thing to me one day during dinner. He said, all I want is a woman who would listen to me and do what I say. And I said,
I said more than that.
Well, yes, and then you said I will give her the
And
world.
I will give her the world. That's the best
And
part.
I was like, yeah, and I was like, well, well, dang, all right,
Yeah.
you know, that's easy. I could do that.
AB, thank you for that 25.
I was like, that's nothing. So, you know, and then after that, it was like, okay, we're going to see how this works. And it just got better and better. Neither of us went into our relationship thinking I'm going to marry her. He didn't go into the relationship saying I'm in love with her. She's the one, I'm going to marry her. He saw potential, right? And from where he comes from, that's how he was looking. He saw potential. And I could understand that because, mind you, he was a very honest person, the most honest person I've ever met in my whole life. And I told you guys before, there'd be times he would tell me stuff and I'd be like, just lie to me. Because all that honesty stuff, that's a whole nother level for me. Just lie. I think I'd rather be lied to. Because the honest, people say, you know, I just want my dude to be honest with me. Well, to be honest, a lot of you women could not even handle the truth. There would be zero relationship because truth brings in, like you would think that truth would bring in a sense of not having to worry about anything. Closure. Right, but it doesn't. It actually brings in a whole new onslaught of insecurities that a person would have to then get over. And so people say tell the truth, but when they say you don't want to know the truth, they are telling the truth. You don't want to know the truth. And if you do want to know the truth, you have to be prepared for what comes with the truth. You know, you can't just, you know, I know a lot of women who say, if he would have just told me the truth. Well, the truth is, a lot of you be trying to dig and do research when you already know what's going on in your relationship. And even when you find out what you want to find out, you stay there anyway. So, yeah, so going back to when we met, I never thought that Andre, coming from his background and all these different kind of things that we think that we wouldn't be in a relationship with a particular person, I'd never related his background to who he was as a person. And so when we got together, all I could see was Andre the man with this knowledge that I wanted to suck up, and also his relationship with Yah. That also made me want to not only have a relationship with him, but my own relationship, because I knew that in order to keep this man, that I was gonna have to have my own relationship, because that's what with God, because that's what it was gonna take. A lot of women, I felt like in his past, couldn't stand and stayed. Like, they stood and they did them because he was with some really powerful and gorgeous women who, when they were doing what they were doing, were very powerful. But I feel like there was no stickum because they were so looking at the man that they didn't keep their eyes on God, which if you don't keep your eyes on God, then with this man right here, not all men, with this one, you are going to fall off at some point. Because if your relationship from God is separated, then you forget about the positioning and headship, and then you just worrying about your relationship with the man. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to unpack a couple of things that you said, because you were saying that, you know, if you don't establish a relationship with the Most High, dealing with me, that you know, you won't have no stickum. You probably won't last. Yeah. But why is that? What is some experiences that you had that understand how important that part was?
The experiences I had that made me realize what was most important in our relationship was when he says manhood and everything under manhood, whether it's integrity, character, honesty, all those things, he bases off of his relationship with Yah. And so when he is teaching me, he's teaching me those same principles. And it doesn't just apply to manhood, it also applies to womanhood. So I just was like, you know what, I'm learning all this stuff, but something is missing. Because a lot of times that's why women's emotions and feelings take over and they can't bounce back. And it's because you're not at one with that, in that level that that man is at. And so my particular man just so happened to be spiritually inclined and have a belief and a faith in Yah. And I had to, in order to have stickum, I had to line up in that order. And that meant that, and not just that I had to, it was something that I wanted after a while from my own personal self. I came to the realization that, you know what? I'm always worried about these different things that a lot of women are worried about. And what I need to do is I need to develop my own relationship with Yah, because that's the only thing that's going to help me. You know, he used to always say, well, if it got too tough, well, if you can't do it, that's all right, because somebody else will come take your place. And at first, that used to, like, get me. I'd be like, you could just cut me off like that? Well, you know, I'm going to get that so I could be expecting the same thing from you. And so it's not just one-sided. And I think women have that really miscued because they feel like, oh, this man has this particular position and it makes us little. When actually there's manhood and there's womanhood, and the same principles he lives by is the same principles I live by. You know, and so then I can have an expectation out of him just like I have from my God, and I can set that expectation just like he does me. And so we keep each other accountable. So
Powerful, honey. It's powerful.
There has to be some accountability to each other. And just like you, when you teach manhood, how when you first have a relationship and who you present yourself to be is that person that you better show up as every day, or then you gonna lose. And you can't expect that woman to continue to look at you with the same eyes as she looked at you in the beginning, because you failed to adhere to the words that you told her in the beginning. So, and that goes the same for women. If you present yourself to be this, then you need to stay that. You know, and unless you learn some different things, like you can learn from each other. I just so happen to have someone that has a particular set of information that was able to groom me and give me and make me better than I was before, per information and knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I remember we was having a conversation, because remember when I met Dove, I was still in the game and I already had a few little, women with me, right? Transitioning out of that. And this conversations I was having with some of them was saying, listen, if you guys don't want to step up, just like Dove said, somebody's going to step up and do what you are having a hard time to do, and it's going to be natural to them. So one of the first things that I recognized with Dove is her ability to do something that I held with high esteem, but it was so natural to her. It was like she didn't even think about it. It was just who she was. And so I remember I was having a conversation with one of my exes, and she was saying something to me like, that like Dove took her away from her. Like Dove took me away from her. And I'm gonna let Dove tell you what she told me.
Yeah, he told me that that she was saying, she despised me. She like had so much anger, even though we were very close and we lived together. We supported each other during a lot of traumatic times, because that's when Andre was just arrested, and he was jailed. And so she said that she took you from me, and even though we spent a lot of time together, she had a lot of anger, which was understandable. But I told him, no, I didn't take you from her. She gave you to me. Because she failed to have the faith and continue to stand in faith. She was looking at the man instead of having her relationship with God and trusting and having that faith in the relationship and maintaining who she was supposed to be under that. She took her eyes off that. And that was one of the things, like, through all his relationships, he has really good relationships with all his exes, which I always thought was beautiful. But I remember one time he was like, you know, I was going through something, and he was like, you should talk to such and such. And I said, why would I talk to somebody who's not here no more? You know, what I need to do on my own is figure out what's necessary for me to stay here. And not only that, make sure I'm always at the level you're at. And what I mean by the level you're at is that there's plenty of times for you to take your eyes off of what God is doing and look and continue to act upon emotion. And so if you do that, then you will find yourself out of place. And while that person is continuing to grow, you'll continue to decline or stop. And if you stop, then that creates dissension in your relationship. And inevitably, you will not be together anymore, because that person will refuse to be what they're supposed to be. And if you refuse, then there's nothing else to do but for you two to separate. Because that means that you're no longer willing to do what it takes to be in that relationship anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't got nothing to say beyond that. But yeah, she's right. You know, when she comes on here, I try to give her as much space as possible, because I know a lot of you guys want to hear from her, because she has so much information, and from a woman's perspective, you know, and dealing out that information. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy, because I'm a very hard person to be around. Extremely difficult, because of my expectation of what I know what's in a person and what I require out of that individual. Now, I'm not going to require nothing without living it in front of you. And I'm going to live it in front of you and let you see me living in front of you. That way, I'm able to leverage more power when I'm asking you for something. Because I'm not asking you for something that you haven't seen live. I'm asking for something that you've seen me live, right? So that gives me leverage to pressure you to say, I'm giving you this. This is what I expect from you. You know, how did you deal with that?
Oh, man, you guys, it was so hard in the beginning, because, you know, I felt like if I could have stick 'em with a buster, then I sure could have stick 'em with somebody who's trying to raise me and elevate me to be everything that I can be, right? And so I already had stick 'em, you know, but the expectation, because, you know, when you with somebody who doesn't have information and they don't care how you been, and if they might care how you been, they just don't know how to cultivate you, you know. And so, oh my God, there's been so many times I'm just like, Lord, I don't know, you know, how it's in the beginning. It's like you feel like you're being picked on. You feel, you know, you just feel like every single thing you do is wrong. So why should you be in a relationship where everything you do is wrong? You know, it's like you gotta, we always laugh because I say, God dang, I feel like I gotta walk on eggshells around you, you know, because it's that beginning, it's that cultivation, breaking you out of all those bad habits and those emotional characteristics that tear relationships apart. When there's no communication, it makes you communicate. It makes you say no. You don't sit and wallow and be depressed. You get that stuff out. You talk about it. You know, it was hard because I was a person that kind of kept stuff in other relationships. I wasn't, I never submitted, you know, so I was very boisterous. So it was like in this relationship of not lowering myself, but bringing myself to a place where I could listen and learn. For a lot of black women, it's very, very hard because of the trauma and not having someone to cultivate. And like I said, always feeling like somebody is pushing you down and not building you up. And it's very difficult. And even though I knew in my heart that he was building me, I'm telling you, sometimes I was like, okay, I see, like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. Because if I'm not being who he wants me to be now, I can't see how I'm going to be that later on, because it was difficult. But I learned not to take things personal after a while. But it took years for me, I mean years. And even to this day, like it's a practice. it's a all the time communication is key. You know, even if it might not be something, you know, good, even if you're feeling some kind of way, you never ever sit back and allow yourself to think that you can just take care of it on your own, because that's when the enemy comes in, and next thing you know, you're not working in faith, you're not working in belief, you working off your own carnal mind. And when you're working off your own carnal mind, you're going to be messed up. Trying to tell you. That's why after a while, I realized, and I don't even really know how long, it wasn't that long, maybe about a year and a half, 2 years. I was like, even though I had my relationship, it was like, in the beginning, I felt like I was doing things just to, because he did it. You know, I want a relationship because you have it, or I'm just kind of living off your relationship. And after a while, I realized, nope, I need my own relationship, because I need to have the power and the authority in the faith to believe just like he does, because I knew that's how he got through. I knew that's how he operated and how he worked. So I knew that and I used to always say, and this was kind of a smart alecky remark though, but I was like, I just wish I could just be like him, think like him, and don't care about nothing and all that kind of stuff, so I could just not have feelings and just, you know, oh, I used to be so angry because, you know, women, we always trying to get that satisfaction of having our emotions catered to, or you know, oh, I want this, I want that. But you know what? When I got my own relationship, then I was able to build and feel strength and feel like you're not the only one that got a relationship with y'all. I do too. And you know what? Them same expectations you got, I got them too. I'm going to be everything I'm supposed to be, and you going to be everything you supposed to be too. And you ain't got to answer to me, but I know who you got to answer to. So that led me to another place where I can understand the man that he is. And then not only understand who he is, but learn to understand who I am and who I want to be. It's not something that you should be forced into wanting to be. If you want to be that, then you want to be that. But in the beginning, I can admit that, you know, it was like, whatever you like, I like. And, you know, whatever you down with, I'm down with. But then after a while, I realized that, you know, I need, in order to continue to stand and have longevity in this relationship, I got to have my own relationship with God, period. Because if you don't, then there's no understanding about relationships, and there's no understanding about how to keep them and how to stick in there in circumstances that most people would never be able to survive in, ever. I mean, I'm telling you, we've been through so much in the 21 years we've been together. It's like we lived like 20 lifetimes. And I'm not even joking. You know, things that I see people getting angry at each other about, it's laughable. It's like you will never make it. You know, you will never make it, because there is not a ready-made relationship. A relationship takes work. And you guys are going to have to agree upon things. And if you don't, it's just not going to last. It's not going to last. You know, and because if you don't like in the beginning the way your man or woman is being, and you don't have the information and knowledge to educate them to step a little higher or give them understanding, both of you guys ain't going nowhere. And you see it all the time. It ain't going nowhere. So that's what I realized. And I was thankful that I was able to be in communication with his past women, learn about their wonderful exploits, learn about the things that they weren't good at, and come to a conclusion that, I see why this didn't last. Because it was like I was in the beginning. Okay, I'm going to be everything you are, but through you. Can't do that, because your eyes is going to stay on the man instead of staying on God. And then you could put them expectations on Yah. Because if you doing what Yah wants you to do, then you could set expectations. But if you ain't, you can't set no expectations. You don't even have faith. So, yes.
Yeah. So unpack what you were saying about, you just said something about, oh, it come back to me. Hang on, I missed it. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Holy Ghost. About having built relationships with my ex-women, because you have to understand that I have children with some women that I was with. So we still have relationships to this day, you know, because we have children together. So, and I would tell Dub in the beginning that if you got a problem with any of my exes, then it ain't no sense of me you've been together, because I'm gonna always have some type of relationship with my exes because we have children together. You know, I'm not just that. I'm not that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? And I can honestly say that in my life with my exes, I don't have any exes that are angry with me, saying that I was underhanded and I was a liar, I was a cheat, I was deceitful. I have none of that, which is why when I did my documentary, Master the Game, I was able to take women out of my past and have them come and do Master the Game, because I still had that same level of respect, and that's important. There's a lot of men that get into relationships, and because you didn't show up as a man that you told her you were, the woman becomes justified in her anger and her attitude towards you, you know, because you were deceitful and you were a liar. But I made sure that no woman ever that dealt with me would ever be able to say that about me. You know what I'm saying?
And you could see that in the relationship that we were just talking about one of his exes being angry with me. Now, why would you be angry with me? Because you know he didn't do nothing, and you know he is so honest and straightforward, so she had no other outlet but to blame me. You know, and if she didn't have that, then she would have blamed him. But there was no blame, you know, there was nothing to be blamed. So that's why she blamed me. And that goes to show you what kind of man that you are, because of her blaming me. Most women will blame the guy. And he did this and he did that and blase, blase, but that's not what happened. So it's a testament to what you're saying, because it would have been the opposite.
Yeah, so somebody said they're confused. I have ex-people that I've been with, ex-women, right? When I was in the lifestyle. And in the lifestyle, we had children together. So, of course, so I'm not going to fall out of fellowship with my exes. I have children. We have to raise them together, right? And they would come stay with me one school semester or two. They would go with their mom for the summer, and we would switch off, right? So it was important that whoever came in my life later on would have to understand that there are relationships that I have that children are involved, right? And because I'm a stand-up man, I'm going to tell you from the beginning, if that's something that you have a hard problem with, then me and you can't go forward, because I'm not about to show up any kind of way than I've showed up in my life all my life, right? So that's some of that part of that being real honest, right? So, yeah. So I'm just gonna cover
But that also just let me know, even though honestly, a woman, like, she would love for her man to be not in good with their exes. They would love that, you know. But when he first told me that he was in good, like, had good relationships with all his exes, I was like, no. But then, because I know the person that he is, I knew that it was true. And then when I found out for myself, I actually thought it was a beautiful thing, which let me know that, again, everything that this man told me he was, that's a testament to me as to who he was, because the proof was right there, you know, with those women who to this day still love him and care about him, because he was always honest, and he upheld his character and integrity throughout their whole relationship, and the reason for their breakup was never him. So, I mean, you don't see that. That's rare.
Yeah, so, you know, I do have expectations. So my thing is sometimes when I life coach people, I tell them that, you know, a man really doesn't have an excuse to dissolve a relationship. The only excuse a man has, a true excuse to dissolve a relationship, if the woman that he's dealing with have decided to stop. Other than that, you have to produce the genius to continue to create the relationship and to lead, right? You're not off the hook because somebody has come with some baggage. You know, produce the genius to take care of that. That's what men do. The only thing that you have an excuse to dissolve the relationship if that woman decides to stop, then there's nothing you could do. So I remember in one of my relationships, somebody was with me for 3-4 years, and she said, you know, because I'm always talking about you got to be big. You know, I told you guys before, my dad said the only way to keep being small is to be big. So anytime in a relationship that somebody was showing up in something petty, we would expose that, and I would say, you have a choice to be this person. You don't have to be that person. You have a choice to be this person. You want to be petty or you want to be big. The power is in your hands, so I always wanted to empower the person to let them know that you don't have to be petty if you don't want to be. You could choose to be big, right? So I remember after about 3 or 4 years, one day we was having a conversation and there was a certain issue that was going on, and she said to me, I don't want to be big no more. That's what she said to me. I don't want to be big no more. And automatically I knew when she said that the relationship had ended, because she was deciding that at this particular moment I'm not growing no more.
That helped me. I learned never to say I don't want to be big no more, because that's the end. Thank you. No.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
For I knew it. Once she professed out of her mouth and she was settled in that, what could I do? The relationship ended, right? So I'm saying to men out there, it never mattered what type of baggage a woman brought to me, because I knew I had the information where that stuff was small. I knew that whatever she brought into the equation, that I was capable, right, of dealing with it, with the information. It didn't even make me be afraid at all, and in no capacity. The only thing that I ever looked for to dissolve a relationship is when somebody says, I don't want no more. You know, I don't want to be big. I don't want to show up big no more. So I know at that period, we can't go no more, because I'm going to keep being big. Regardless of the situation, I'm not going to allow nothing to make me petty and make me who I say, unlike who I say that I am. So I just want to point that out. Dove said it helped her.
Yep. You told me that before, because a lot of times you may not have to say, I don't want to be big no more. Your actions say that. And so all I got to do is, you know, have a little reminder. And I'd be like, oh, okay.
Now remember, as you're edifying people, you're living it, right? So it's not an opportunity for a woman to say, I don't want to be big, and then you say something and she say to you, you ain't been big either, right? You can't win like that. So if you're not showing up being big, then you have no power in the situation anymore, because that's her excuse. Well, you ain't being big, so why should I be big, right? So I made sure that every opportunity I had to this day, I'm showing up and taking that opportunity to be big, right? And that's what I continue to do to this day. And like I said, it's inconveniencing sometimes, but that's the choice that I've made to live my life as a man, you know, and to differentiate myself. And what you'll find is that when a woman begins to see you and continues to see you show up, that this becomes the ultimate attraction.
I was going to say, when you said that, what men or women don't understand is that the more you show up to be who you said you was going to be, puts the pressure on her to be that. And if she's not there, it puts the pressure on her to continue to grow. But if you fall backwards because you waiting on her to be a woman before you be a man, you'll never grow. Neither one of you guys will ever grow. And if you out there talking about you trying to build a woman and you're not doing that because she's looking at you saying, please, you know, you can't even be consistent in what you're talking about, and you looking at me to be something, it will never happen.
It's true. True. The greatest pressure that I've ever had, and the ability to apply that pressure, is me living what I say, right? So I don't present an excuse for somebody not to show up, you know? As a matter of fact, I have so much evidence of me showing up through every situation that I've gone through. You know, it's like Dove one time in Master of the Game, and she talks about, you know, how when she would come visit me in jail, and how she never seen me. How was you explaining that? You remember she was coming visit me in jail, and you never see me break or crack, and stood up
Yeah,
everything
yes,
through it.
he
And
was always positive. I mean, a
even through
lot of
trial.
people can come and visit somebody and it's always complaining. Complaining about what's going on in there, complaining about what you don't have, complaining. And so what that does is it makes the woman or the person visiting you feel like, you never uplift them. You never give them anything to look forward to. You make yourself look weak and susceptible to whatever comes your way. Like you cannot stand against anything. And that's not manly. It's not womanly either. You know, just period. Like I said, when you have a particular faith in God, then you're actually not supposed to be looking at anything like that. Your outlook on everything should be positive because of your belief system.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that even when I was in prison, and it was no facade, it was who I am, that I wanted to be able to say, you see this condition I am? Have I changed? Right? You see the condition that I am. So anytime I've been in a condition, even kidney failure, you see this condition that I am? Am I still doing the work? Have I changed? Do you know what I'm saying? So that puts an extraordinary amount of pressure on an individual that they got to show up to you, because you still keep putting out the evidence. You know, that whatever situation that you see me in, I've maintained a sense of integrity and have not changed. And that's the ultimate comfort a woman wants, is to know that in any situation, her man won't change on her. It's not financial security. It's the security that a woman can bank on, that no matter what happens, this man I got, he ain't gonna change.
Another thing that's just so manly is that, women are known to be emotional. If you build a relationship with Yah, you can curve a lot of that. But when you come to your man and you got all this negativity, and instead of downing you, he lifts you up with some positivity. When he turns that negative into a positive, and with everything you bring to him, he could bring some positivity out of it. Now, at first, it's going to get on our goddamn nerves. Because remember, we want our emotions to be satisfied. And then we're going to be angry, because all we want is for you to sympathize with our emotions. But then after a while, when you see it lived and you see the change and you see how it keeps those weights off your shoulder, then you're going to want to be like that. But you have to learn why it makes him like that. And that's why I said after a while, I learned why he was like that. And I knew why he told me, but when you see those things continue to come to fruition in everything that man does, then that's when your belief kicks in, and that's when you could say, I want what he got. But believe you me, in the beginning, ain't no woman saying I want what he got. They saying I want that man looks strong and he looks like he has a lot of knowledge and I want to be with him, but you really don't know in depth why he is the man that he is until you see him live it time after time after time. That makes that person say, I got to have what he has the way he got it. And that's how I got there. That's how I got to, you know what? I don't keep him by just necessarily doing everything he wants me to do. I keep him by being everything under Yah that I'm supposed to be. And then if I'm doing everything correctly under Yah, then ain't no question that I'm doing everything he want me to do, because it works both ways.
Yep. That's powerful. And that's been the real key. You know what I'm saying? In everything we do, we never eliminate the God element in our life, right? Never. Even when I was in a game, I never eliminated the God element in my life. In my book, The Road to Paradise, I remember I was in jail, and I wrote about this in my book. And I was in jail at Clark County Detention Center, and I was on my bunk, and I was talking to the Lord, and I was like, Lord, I don't understand. With all that people say, I do that's bad, why have you revealed yourself to me so strong? Why have you been such an intricate part of my life when what I'm doing is supposed to be so wrong? I don't understand that. I don't understand, how is that possible? And so that night I had a dream, and it's in my book. And in this dream, and I need to tell you guys this because it touched me and it made me understand the Most High in a different way. It just made me understand him in a different way. So in the dream, let me get the hold on, you guys. In the dream, there was this man, in the dream who was the most hated man upon the face of the earth, because he would kill people and kill families. And in the fashion that he would kill these families and children, he would find a high-rise building, and he would place their body parts in some circle, in some demonic kind of circle thing, and he would place their body parts in this circle on this high-rise so that the media could see all these bodies the way he placed. This is going on in the dream. And people hated him. He was the most hated person upon the face of the earth. And so in the dream, the police got tipped off to where this guy was, and they started chasing him in the car. He was in his car, and police started chasing him. And they were chasing him, and my heart was beating real fast in the dream, like, oh my God, they're about to get this guy. So the guy jumps out of his car and goes to this apartment complex. And I was fearful because when he went to the apartment complex, it had like 3 levels, so he went down like to the bottom level. And he was going to each door trying to open it to see what door was open. And I chronicle all this in my dream, The Road to Paradise. And so finally, he finds a door that was open. That's why you should keep your doors locked. He found a door that was open. And I knew that there was a family inside. Just instinctively in my dream, I knew that there was a family inside. And my heart was racing for that family because I know this man is a killer of families. So he went in, and there was a family there, right? So all the police, it was like 300-400 police that was out there waiting for him, and they were going door to door to door, right? So remember I said he was on the bottom level. So on the main floor, the police were all the way around in like this parking lot, like 200-300 police. And then other police was going door to door to try to find this man, until finally they go to the door where the man is. So the family, it was like a little boy and a little girl and a mother and father. And he didn't do nothing to them. So he gave himself up, right? So the police get him, they handcuff him, and they're bringing him up the stairs to the main level. So as the man is handcuffed and he gets to the main level, the police officer in back trips him on purpose because they wanted the man to stumble onto the main level to look like he was trying to run. So when the police officer tripped him, said he's trying to run, then all those 300 police officers that had their gun ready started shooting the man. And in the dream, God was furious about that because even though he was the most hated man upon the face of the earth, God wanted him to be judged amongst his peers. So what God did in the dream was kept all them bullets from hitting the man and from hurting him. And so television, all the police officers, and there was televisions from all over the world watching the incident, and everybody saw this miracle. And everybody was blown away because everybody knew that only God could have saved this man from all those thousands of bullets that were shot at him. And so at an instant, the man's heart was changed, and as ugly as he was, he became a beautiful person. God had changed his heart. And because the miracle was so obvious, the man started going all over the world talking about his experience. And at the end of the dream, the Most High said this to me that changed my life from that day and forever. He spoke to me in the dream, true story, and I chronicle it in my book. He said, if I loved him, who was the most hated man upon the face of the earth, how much more do you think I love you? Because remember, I was asking him why he had been with me through the game, why he had showed up for me. He said, if I had loved him, and I could feel the love that God had for the man in the dream, and I couldn't embrace him, I couldn't understand how could God love him so much because he was so bad. And it blew me away because I didn't understand. But he said, if I loved him, who was the most hated man upon the face of the earth, how much more do you think I love you? That broke me down. I woke up crying. But it let me understand the love of God for me, the deep love of God for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is what I'm saying to you, which is the pinnacle of success. To have that relationship and being able to share with Dove and anybody else that was with me before the essence of what I believe in my life, regardless of the obstacles that I had to go through. to become what God ultimately wanted me to become, right? Never losing that. Even in the game, keeping that sense of integrity. Even in the game, being fair. Even in the game. I have a reputation out here, but people know how fair I was even in the game. Wasn't underhanded, wasn't deceitful, wasn't a liar, wasn't a manipulator. It was just straight truth. When I showed up to a girl, I'm letting her know this is what I am. Let me give you an opportunity to decide whether you want to deal with me, for somebody like me. So at the end of the day, when we're in a relationship, she won't be able to say, thank you, A1. She won't be able to say 3 months down the line or a year down the line, you lied to me when we first met. You were a liar. She'll never be able to say that to me. She'll never be able to use that as an excuse for her to lie to me down the line. Because I showed up in my manhood and in my truth, right? Because my manhood was more important to me than anything in the world. So I just want to throw that out there to you and let you know what I wanted to offer to Dove was just the man. I was going to do that anyway because I live it daily. But what I wanted to offer to her is the gift of relationship with the Most High that ultimately made me be able to survive the game, the streets, politics, kidney failure, everything. Billy Bow, thank you for that 20. That's what I wanted to give. That's the essence of what I wanted to give. And the fact that she was able to capture that after a while, to understand her own empowerment in the situation, right? That ultimately her connection with the Most High was more important than anything. And if my connection with the Most High is more important than anything, and her connection with the Most High is more important than anything, then bring on whatever you want to bring on. We'll conquer it. Then whatever you want to bring it on. We'll conquer it. And we've been conquering everything ever since.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you take from there.
I was going to say, bring it back to me. You were talking about your relationship, and we're talking about expectations and what I saw. If you know that your man or woman has placed themselves in God's hands, and they live that, because he told you guys before, he told me, you know, I'm not being this because of you, you know, and the truth is, a lot of men and women, they want somebody to feel like that. They want the other one to feel like they're being who they are being. Like, I'm not cheating because of you, you know, because you just everything like that. Well, that person is going to fail you. I can tell you that right now. And I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of you out there have experienced that numerous times. If somebody is telling you that they're being something or a certain kind of way because of you, it's a lie. Because eventually, it's going to fail. So what's going to happen is that next person that get with you, when they find out that you were being this particular kind of person for somebody else, and there wasn't something higher. I knew it was higher, but I knew it was consistent. And I knew the repercussions of him not being who he said he was going to be. And it wasn't because of me. Now, if you saying to me that you are who you are because of Yah, and because you know the repercussions of your relationship and who you say you going to be and not being that, then I can be like, well, I don't have to sit around here worrying about you not being who you say you gonna be then. You know, because you don't have to answer to me. Because what is the repercussions gonna be for me? That we not together? Or our relationship is not gonna be as strong as it's supposed to be? So, yeah. If you have somebody like that who is committed, you know, like I said in the beginning, you know, I felt some kind of way when he told me that. I'm not who I am because of you. You know, I'm like, what you mean? You don't love me like that? It don't have nothing to do with loving you like that. It has something to do with being who you supposed to be to Yah, which is most important. Okay, if you got somebody out here telling you, oh, baby, you know, I'm just going to be with you and that's it because you done changed me, it's a lie. It's most likely a lie. Because somebody else is going to come down the line and look better than you, sexier than you, booty bigger than yours, because it's always something that's going to, they smarter than you, you know, whatever it is, you know. There's always something that's going to come along that's going to take your eyes off of who you said you was going to be for her and because of her. So you need to find something else that's going to make you stick to who you said you going to be. That's what it is. It can't be another person, because then that means somebody, there ain't no other God. So if it's another person, it can change. If it ain't no other God, so ain't no other God going to come along, the real God, that's going to come along and change your mind from who you said you was going to be to whoever. And actually, it's who you supposed to be for self. And that's why the person don't change, because it's not for nobody, it's for self. I'm being this way because this is what's expected of me, because it's my will to be that way. Not your sacrifice, or not what you really want to do, but you really don't want to do it. It has to be your will. And if it ain't your will, sacrifice can be changed, because you can sacrifice for a whole bunch of stuff. But if it's your will, then that means you really, really want to be that person. And you're going to go to the extent to be that person, whatever it takes. You know, through whatever hardships, through whatever pains, through whatever. Because I know in every relationship that he's been in, he's had to at first sacrifice. But it was also his will, because he chose to be in that relationship and knew what it was going to take to get somebody to where he would like them to be. And inevitably, with the information, you are adding upon who that person is, because obviously there are some qualities in that person when you first meet them that makes you say, I think with the information I have and the qualities that this person already has, I can make this person extraordinary. You know, don't act like you coming into a relationship and this person just ain't nobody, and you just about to build them and make them magnificent like they didn't have any qualities. Right? Because that's not the case. And then also, again, you have to maintain who you said you was gonna be. That integrity, that character, that honesty, all those things need to remain throughout your relationship. If there had been, because of who he has been to me for 21 years, if he just all of a sudden switched up, I'd be like, oh, wait a minute. It would be a whole different level. It wouldn't be, he just ain't that man no more. It would be, dang, he don't really trust God like that no more. His belief system is gone. So see, it's a whole different thing. So whoever that person is dealing with, whether it's God or not, just know that whoever you say you're going to be, or whoever you say you're going to show up to be, you need to maintain that. Or there will be zero, not control, but zero ability to manifest anything in your relationship beyond sex or whatever it will be until it ends. Period.
Yeah.
Hey, little bit.
What you want, girl?
You need to give your debut?
Come here. Come here. Sit. Sit.
Say
Over there.
hi.
Over there.
Say hi.
Over here. Up there. I ain't got nothing for you. What you want? Go potty?
Kisses.
Can I go potty? Okay, we got to finish this. Tell Mama to take
Say
you.
hi.
Watch out, girl. Ouch!
No, go.
Go on, girl. You're stepping all in this game feet.
Her feet hurt.
Yeah. Go downstairs. Mom, take a little bit potty. All right, girl.
She told me, yeah.
Go on. Downstairs.
Go on your blanket.
Little bit. Mom's calling you.
She wants some Scooby snacks.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Little intermission, a little bit. Go downstairs. Mom's calling you. Go potty.
Come on, let's go potty.
Yeah. So anyway, Dove is right. That's really the if we was to offer you anything about what has been the catalyst to our relationship and all the things that we face together and conquer together, you know, it has been our trust in the Most High. Not religiously, you know what I'm saying? Because once you proclaim that you're going to trust the Most High and the information that we're sharing and that I've been sharing with you guys for many, many months on Daily Fires. Once you take that and ingest that information and then begin to operate in that information, you're going to have to trust it, right? You're going to have to trust it to the extent that you're willing to die before you don't trust it. I know that sounds extreme, but not to me. It seems so normal. You know, I've said this before. Martin Luther King said, if a man living hasn't found something worth dying for, he's not fit to live. And as a black man, we've been so watered down in this country by things and the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, that that initial commitment to something so strong, we've wavered in. And it's the time to get that back. You know, that same energy we had, you know, in them 60s, we got to have that and more now. Monty, thank you for that $10. So my appeal is to the remnant. When Dove and I are speaking, we're speaking to those that can only hear. I'm not concerned about those who cannot hear, but for those that can hear, that's who we're speaking to. You know what I'm saying? And so that you can take this information, because we've lived this, and this is by example. You know, we come in to share with you parts of our life that have worked and that continues to work, you know, and
Because it's like, you ain't going to keep going back and forth with a woman, and we're not going to keep going back and forth with you if you ain't the remnant. If you don't believe, all I know is that it works. Even people, I've had people come up to me at our meetings in different places that I don't even know I'm affecting, but it's the remnant. They say, Dove, what you were talking about that day, I applied it. And this happened and this happened. So you never know who you're going to reach. This internet is worldwide. So we're not looking at the non-believers. We're looking at the remnant. We're looking at the believers. That's who we're speaking to. I don't care about what woman don't agree with what I'm saying. That means nothing to me. I could care less. I'm reaching the one whose ears are open and is willing to apply and listen, because the only way you know something works is if you apply it. The only way I knew that the information he gave me worked is by application. And if it failed, that's a whole nother thing. It could be in your application too. Sometimes it takes practice. But we're looking at the remnant. That's it.
that's it. You know, unconcerned about those that can't hear. We already know that there's a bunch that can't hear. You know, Scripture said, "My sheep know my voice, and another they will not follow." So, you know, this is not a popularity contest for me. Today we have 120, 118 people on. There are some people that have thousands of people on their internet. I'm not worried about that, nor jealous. Do what you do. You know, entertainment can have thousands of people on there. But oh, when them judgment starts coming on earth, they're gonna wish they were here. You know, like I said, we're getting people ready. Just that small remnant. The Scripture says only a remnant will be saved. Doesn't matter what anybody says, I'm telling you. And those that are here that are getting this information to apply for your life, you'll be ready. Because there's some things coming down the pike this year, towards the end of this year, and people will not know what to do because they would never had no information. They've been so watered down with entertainment, and they've made entertainment their God, you know, and they have no substance in them, no root. You know what I'm saying? They don't make any footprints. You know, they don't make no footprints on the ground when they're walking because they ain't heavy. You feel me? They ain't heavy, so they don't make no footprints. So this information is for that remnant, that few, you know, that when we walk, we make footprints. Because we talking about some heavy stuff, you know, things that's going to have longevity for us and for our children's children as we rebuild this black nation, you know, throughout the African diaspora. So that's what we talking about. And gathering all our people together, you know, light, black, whatever, all of us, bringing us back together. You feel me? What else you want to say, Doug?
Well, I think that, you know, I don't even know what else people can do to find pleasure. God should be the only one that's given us the ultimate pleasure. And if you're trusting and you're seeking, then he said he'll give you your heart's desire. I don't know what else more you can want than your heart's desire, but won't nobody trust him like that. You know, I mean, I've seen some stuff the other day on Facebook that just, this world is at its end. I'm talking from bestiality on Facebook, and our kids are looking at this stuff, and we wondering like, why are our kids out here twerking? Why are and I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with dancing. We come from Africa. We come from dancing. But I'm saying that, there comes a point in a time where there has to be some virtue in self and some other kind of pleasure, which is the pleasure that you can get forevermore, which Yah says. But I mean, people are searching and doing any and everything to find pleasure, when the pleasure is staring you right in your face. But you don't want to put effort into that. You want to put effort into everything else outside of Yah. And like I said, the remnant, because the things that are going on out here right now and have been going on since the beginning of time is absurd. It's just that now, because of the internet and different things that we have concerning the internet and entertainment, we could see things now. We don't have to just hear about them. We see things for our own eyes. And now this stuff is going around the world, and everybody is able to see those things. And it's disturbing, to know that. And that's why you have to maintain yourself before Yah and try to keep yourself aligned so that you can focus on Him and what His will is for your life, to keep you from being, distracted. Because everything is a distraction now. Everything. And it's unbelievable, but that's what He said was going to happen. People will call evil good and good evil.
Yep.
And that is exactly what's going on in this world right now. But if you don't have that relationship, you won't know how to, not even duck and dodge, but be able to flow right through all that.
And conquer.
And not be touched.
Yeah.
10,000 on thy right, and so on. But it shall not come nigh thee.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we might start someplace, but ultimately come back to really what's been most important for us, And going into 2020, we're going to transition into doing some other things that are going to be real powerful. I can't share all those things with you now, but rest assured, Dove and I are strategizing for this next level of information and how we want to elevate the platform to be able to come forth to our people, to that remnant out there across the country and all over the world. So we're developing those things now because we know what's supposed to happen. We know what's supposed to happen. So we just about finished our assignment here in Seattle. We'll always have a place here, not this time here. We'll still be operating, but there's other things that we need to do around the country as well. So, I like Dove touching on the virtue because, it's disturbing when, black women, black men and black women have been so denigrated to the fact that when most black women, a lot of them, let me just say, not most, but a lot of them, you can see when they take pictures, the first thing that they show in the picture is their butt. That's so denigrating, you know what I'm saying? Like the first thing on that picture you showing is your butt. It just seems so, like, really? Like, this is what I offer. You know what I'm saying? And so like I said, that behavior will continue. It's going to get worse and worse. But for this remnant of men and women, they'll feel so dignified, so empowered, operating in the mindset of authority and dominion, that those things will be so beneath what we're trying to do and what we are accomplishing here around the world. We must set a new standard for the black man and woman, of who we are, walking in our dominion in the earth. You know what I'm saying? Of power and class and example and integrity. All these things are necessary. All these things are what the Most High have taught us. So I just want to, put that out there.
There's another thing too, like we're all guilty of it. If you're liking, if you're sharing, if you're commenting and uplifting that type of stuff, then you're building that. And you have to ask yourself, what are you furthering in the black community? What are you doing to further our women? What are you doing to uplift? What are you doing to build? The booty gonna be there. All assets will be there. They ain't going nowhere. So then now you have to move yourself somewhere else and say, what can I do to uplift? What can I do to build? You know, and you wonder why women look at you like that, and we're looking at you like we're giving you what you want. Isn't that what you wanted? Isn't that what you're uplifting? But yet you're not looking for that type of woman to marry, but you want to lift that and you want to build that. You need to put your energies into uplifting and building the black woman on those pages. If they twerking, if they're doing something, put some positive messages on there. You know, pass it up. Stop letting these women know that that's what you're looking for. And if that's what you're looking for, more power to you. Then you are not the remnant. Because you are not looking for uplifting our women. And mentally, they didn't just get there overnight. They got there because that's what we uplifted. And when we wanted to, like I remember going back to videos where girls were, black women, period, girls, period, weren't worrying about their butts. They might looked at, you know, having a fit body or looking good in a video. But we've uplifting the black woman's butt so much. Now you got everybody out here getting implant illness because they're out here getting implants or injecting their butts with chicken fat, everything, you name it. Even in Africa, it's freaking ridiculous. In Jamaica, it's ridiculous. But they're doing that because that's what you are praising. You're only supposed to be praising God. So now you've created your own God. And God don't like that. What are you furthering in your life? What are you doing to build black families and black people, period? What are you doing? Does your work show that? Then if it's not, then you need to analyze self and ask yourself, self, what am I furthering? What am I building? What am I pushing? You know, and just analyze self. Because we could change a lot of stuff on the internet. I hate when people share videos of us fighting all over the place, fighting each other. You know, just it's women fighting, men fighting. It's freaking ridiculous. I can't stand it. And then you sit around here and say, oh, I can't believe this, that, and the other. But you're the one furthering that. You're the one liking it. You're the one sharing it. You watching the video 20 times. It sickens me and it saddens me. And then you wonder why these white people out here stereotype us into this, that, and the other, and why they know our moves. They've built us with this racist system to be exactly what we're doing right now. And you keep helping them further that. And we need to stop that. Stop sharing that stuff on Facebook. Stop furthering that stuff. Either you gonna find something else to put your energy into, or you not the remnant. Period.
And like I said, everybody can't hear it. We're speaking to the remnant out there. We're getting our people together. You know, we're gonna build up. Some might laugh. Some people might say, oh man, you guys don't understand. Or we understand a lot. We understand a lot. And we can speak on these things because of the work we do. You know, we're not speaking without the evidence of our work.
And not only that, we're speaking off of being that, used to be being that person. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we're speaking, putting nobody down. We're speaking from coming from that place and elevating to another place. Because if you want to be better than the person you were before, you have to analyze what are you doing at that moment and what can you do to further yourself. Because if you further yourself, then you are going to be able to help other people further themselves. And so there's growth. But if there's zero growth and you keep circulating that stuff, circulating it and circulating it, then that's who you are and that's who you become. You can't look at our people and say, I want this, that, and the other. Are they doing this and da-da-da-da? When you're helping further that, you got to elevate your mind, elevate yourself, elevate your knowledge, and get to a different place when you're not saying good is bad and bad is good. Where you're reversing stuff just because you wanted to, where you want to, what's the word? You wanted to kind of, what's the word? When somebody's enabling something, so you wanted to do that. You want to be enabled. to be the way you want to be. You want to look for an excuse as to why it's okay for you to be that way. And a lot of people do that. When they want to maintain acting and being a bad actor, then they look for all the excuses in the world to continue to be a bad actor. And that's just what people do. And if you're the opposite, then you're gonna bring in all the positivity and everything in your life that's going to make you do the reverse and the opposite. And so we got to change that.
Justification, he said.
Yes, justification.
Sir,
Bring it.
Sir Jones.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, looking for that justification.
Yes, indeed.
Have that kind of behavior.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, 2/3 will not make it amongst us, and that's the reality. You know, I prepared myself to understand that. You know, that some people are so far gone that, you know, they've been so conditioned and so indoctrinated that, you know, they won't come back. But for that remnant, you know, we'll be strong and we'll create a different paradigm shift for us as black people. And that's what I'm speaking to, for those that can understand, those that can hear. This information, we live it, we've experienced it, we've used it, and we've conquered with it. So it really doesn't matter what anybody thinks, because we will continue to do so. You know, and people will continue to see from the sidelines and think we do it with smoke and mirrors. You know, but it is what it is. You know, hopefully those that can hear will hear, and those that can't, unfortunate. You know, we need to focus on those that are hearing and applying. You know, again, we're not talking about something we haven't lived. You know, we have done this work, have shown that it's possible, and shown how to defeat white supremacy, and we will continue to do so. And continue to hope to build that remnant so we can go around this country and get our people together, and around this world after that. Yeah. So, anything else babe want to cover?
Nothing came to mind, but because it's already
Hour and a half.
7:30, maybe we could answer some questions.
Okay, yeah. We'll answer some questions.
Now, if you're trying to further yourself, ask some questions.
There's a time to ask questions if you want to ask some. Dove and Ira, I'll answer them for you. Go up. No. Move closer to get them. Too far, honey.
Oh, I just barely started. See,
No.
right here.
Where can I start?
Where can you start? I mean, a lot of people, like I said, justify their bad actions. So you got to analyze your life and look at what you're doing and ask yourself, is it furthering you or is it distancing you? And then you start from there. Little things, we don't believe in little things. We believe in everything being big.
The little is big.
Exactly. And so you just have to analyze self.
Have you ever questioned your woman's loyalty? No. Never. I'm not looking at her. I'm looking at the Most High. You know, so remember how my mind thinks. I know who I'm covered by. So as long as I'm operating underneath the guise of manhood, underneath the Most High, He got me with anything outside of that. I don't have that kind of fear. You know what I'm saying? He got me. So if they want to show up some kind of way, that's on them. You know, let every man be persuaded in his own mind. It's like Dove says, she had to have it for herself. You know, her own integrity is in her own hands, it's not in mine. If she don't want to live up to who she's supposed to be before the Most High, then that's her own life and that's her own situation, her own consequence with the Most High. But I don't have that kind of energy. I can't afford that energy. I need to keep focusing on Andre and making sure Andre is living up to who he's supposed to be. And as long as I'm focused there and Dove is focused where she's supposed to be, then we're going to be fine as we have been.
Somebody said, where did I get my name from? That was Sepulveda. My birth name is Athena. And maybe, I think it was about 2014, we just so happened to be going to this particular church to support one of Andre's clients. and we were getting out the car, and he said he meant to say I think I love you or something, and he said love Dove or something
No,
like
no, I
no.
said,
What'd you say?
I wanted to say was I was going to call you Love, and it came
Yeah.
out Dove.
Oh yeah. He
Yeah.
said, "Hey Love," but he didn't say love. He said, "Hey Dove," and then we were like, "Oh, so so what happened is he was like, oh Dove, like okay that I think we were thinking like that would be like a cute name. Everybody has their names for their significant others, and so when we went in the church, um, when the pastor was speaking, he started speaking on the Holy Spirit as the dove and ascending from heaven, and we just looked at each other. And for a lot of you who don't read the word and don't know about the Holy Spirit and the dove, um, go look it up. But we looked at each other and we were like, dang, that was the confirmation that. So it's not kind of, it's spiritual. So in our relationship, you know that we're spiritual. We are not religious. And spiritually, it just blew our minds because we knew that that was supposed to be my name. It has spiritual connotation. And it means something very great to us. It also means, which in Hebrew is Yonah, which also means regeneration and a whole bunch of other things that related to that time that we were in that particular time that we were in.
Yep. So somebody said some argument, or wait a minute. Can you give us a good example of an argument you had and how you resolved it as a couple?
Well, for one, I have never argued with him. So believe it or not, we have never had an argument the whole 21 years we've been together. Now we've had disagreements, and I've stated this before that I learned very early on that it wasn't beneficial for our relationship for me to continue to have or to even start an argument on a disagreement, because two people can disagree. And because I knew his relationship with Yah and mine, we both know that, well, this person ain't got to believe or tell the truth or whatever the case may have been at the time, because when they either realize it or it's brought to their attention, then that person could be man or woman enough to come back and say, oh, baby, I'm sorry, you were right, or, this, that, and the other, or come back and say, I was wrong. That's another part of manhood, because men in particular do not like to apologize or admit that they are wrong. Well, that's not character, and that's a lack of manhood, because there's nothing weak about admitting that you either made a mistake at that or that you were wrong. And the woman also, can come back and say, instead of just feeling like you have to hold on to something, because again, that causes dissension when either or, man or woman, feels like it's weak, or they're going to be less than if they admit that they made a mistake.
We don't attend no church. We visited certain little places, but I'm not a Christian. Dove is not a Christian. We are Hebrews. We understand and we believe that we are Israelites. Now, there's a lot of Israelite doctrines out there that we might not agree with, but we believe that we are those people that are spoken about in the Word, in the Bible. We're black people, and we believe that we are them. We are what Deuteronomy 28 talks about, the descendants that Abraham talked about in Genesis 14, that will be taken to a foreign country, in a foreign land that they know not of, and be treated harshly there for 400 years. We believe the fulfillment of that 400 years is 2019 this year. And according to a dream that I had, I put in my book, 2019 Christmas time is supposed to be some type of event that happens, that chronicles what God has said to Abraham that would happen, that he would punish the nations that have done this to his people. And we are the only people that were brought into slavery on ships. Historically, there were no other people brought in slavery on ships but the so-called African Americans and black folks in Caribbean islands and other places. So we believe we are the tribe of Judah, the tribe that Yahweh came through, who you might call Christ. So this is what we believe. And it doesn't matter if anybody doesn't believe it, because my response to them is the evidence that Yah is with us is the work that we do, what we've been able to achieve, the miraculous that have happened, and the things that we've been able to achieve is the evidence that the Most High is definitely with us. So when people are out there talking about the Most High as being with them, the scripture says that signs and wonders follows the word. So, the only inclination that we look for is in their lives. What does your life look like? What does your relationship look like? How are you showing up? What are you doing for your community? That is the only way we can see that the Most High is truly with you. So we don't talk about that very much because we'd rather let our work do the talking. I'd rather let our work do the talking and the things that we continue to achieve that are actually miraculous in the land, right? So there it is. So like I say, I don't talk about that because I'm not trying to go back and forth. My belief is let the God that answers by fire, let him be fire. And everything that we put our hands to, whether it's the police accountability, being able to be the first state in the nation, historic to bring forth police accountability, that happened through our organization. That is the movement of the Most High. That is the evidence that Yah is with us. And every other thing that we continue to do and bring change through is the evidence that Yah is with us. So I'm not concerned about what anybody is thinking. All I'm going to say is whatever you believe in, what are the results? What are you doing for your community? How have you conquered white supremacy? And if you're not bringing anything to the table with your belief system and your thought process, then you really ain't got nothing to say to me. That's how I feel about that.
Okay, there was one. Someone said, George said, I'm on a quest for eternal life, distracted by the world as a pretty boy who loves the dough a little too much. Well, prettiness expires. And if you're on a quest for eternal life, then you have to ask yourself, what does it mean to you? And when you ask what does it mean to you, it means what are you willing to give up in order to have that? In order to have that relationship? What does that look like? I don't know if you can be on a quest at the same time that you're doing what you're doing, but you can start. Somebody else said that, that they had some, let me get to it. A bad experience with growing up as a Jehovah Witness. This is Curtis. How do I reestablish a relationship with the Most High? And do I think myself as a smaller case God, a little God, because our ancestors were gods? What do you say to that, man?
Well, on these daily fires, I give a blueprint to how you really connect yourself with the Most High. And if you're really on that quest and if you're really looking for that, I think that it's good that you go through all these daily fires and all this information that I have on here for 7, 8 months. There's so much information that if you're searching for, I made sure to give this information out for people that are searching for that remnant. And if you do the work, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. Go through these daily fires. Devour that information. Start to apply the things that I have said, and you will be in that relationship, right? But go do the work. I had to do the work. Dove had to do the work. It's not easy. Do the work. Nothing is going to be handed to you. Let every man be persuaded in his own mind. Go through these daily fires, and I can guarantee you, if you go through these daily fires, there's a plethora of information there that will empower you to walk in dominion and yieldedness before the Most High.
Let me see. Max said, how would you deal with a woman who has seen you not show up as the man you claim to be? From a woman's perspective, it's going to be hard work, but you could do it. That means that at that instant, when you know you're not showing up to be that, then you have to get to that woman, let them know where you stand. Cause it's not a problem with admitting that you may have fell off, and you don't need to tell her you need to get back, but then you have to start showing up to be that, and then you can't change. Because if you're still together, then that means you have a chance, I believe. And you have a chance to show up. But then when you show up, you can't waver no more. You got to be consistent, because then you'll look like, excuse my French, you'll look like a bride who is just wavering in everything because she doesn't have any guidance. She doesn't have anything as a mere example to say, I can do this myself, because then you give her the excuse to be any way she want to be. And she just be looking at you like, he ain't what he said he is. I'm just going to be any old kind of way. And then you got two people being any old kind of way and not really even having a relationship. You guys are just together, putting up and dealing with each other until you find the next thing to be the same way with. So, it starts when you make up your mind. If you know that's what it is and you recognize it, then you're responsible for it. If you don't know, then you're not responsible. But if you know that that's what you're doing and you continue to do that and you don't continue to get yourself right, then you're responsible and you're going to reap everything that comes with that. And it could be very devastating and bad. So I suggest that you just get on top of who you know to be and don't waver, so you can get her to trusting that you ain't going to change. Because right now, you can be that, but it's going to take a whole lot of being that for her to look at you and say, okay, he ain't wavering, he ain't changing, he mean what he say.
To have some point of reference.
Yes. Well, my whole thing is, George, just because you a pretty boy don't mean that you have to give yourself over to that, because that's a weakness also. So is Andre. But he chose to be a particular way, and it wasn't because of me. So if you're looking and searching for that eternal life, again, you going to have to make up in your mind what you going to do. Just because somebody stepped to you don't mean you have to take it. But if that's where you're at, then you're not searching for an eternal life.
Yeah, and then
you're just not wanting to be the remnant right now. And it could happen later on. But I mean, that's an excuse. That's an excuse. I don't know how old you are, but it just sounds like an excuse to me.
Yeah, let me say, and then you ain't nobody special. Let me tell you what I mean by that, right? If you just so easy to give yourself over somebody, you know what I'm saying? Listen, man, I never let no woman just feel like she can just come and just toss me up because she's cute. I think too much of myself. I used to tell Dove, I said, look, Dove, one thing you ain't gonna never have to worry about me is I'm not gonna lie to you, first of all. But I'd be dang if a woman feel just because she's cute that somehow she can capture this. I done had fine women all my life and continue to have somebody fine. That ain't no new thing to me. Because you fine? I come out the game. I diminished all that stuff. That meant nothing to me. So when a guy comes in that he think he look good and he can't control himself, that sound like some broad stuff to me. What you mean you can't control yourself? You on some unmanly stuff. That means that your partner shouldn't be around you. That means you're not somebody that somebody could trust because you weak to a woman. Because you think because somehow you cute or something that gives you the excuse to go sleep with somebody or something. 40. Yeah, I don't care. I'm saying that don't mean nothing, man. I'd be dang if I let a woman approach me and just because she cute, somehow she could have me. Not this.
So if you try to have a relationship and you're giving that off to your woman, a lot of times guys like that choose ugly women because, that's just how it works, and vice versa. And so if you have a woman, then you're instilling that same frame of thought to that woman. So if you acting like that, she dang sure gonna be like that. And so, you don't have nothing to instill. You don't have nothing to give to build with a mindset like that. I could think like that too. You know what I'm saying? If he thought like that, he gonna give it to me. I already know what I'm working with, so this relationship ain't gonna work.
George, I'm saying that behavior is unmanly. That behavior is unmanly. Don't take it personal. Take the information. I know. You think you a pretty boy? I done had 8, 9 women at one time. All of them dropped dead gorgeous out the game. And it wasn't because they was with me because I thought they was cute, because we was trying to get some money. So my passion to get some money was way bigger than how cute they were. Right? So in the game, men diminish sex and all this kind of stuff. We look something different about it. You can't be no man in it. And I'm not promoting being in the game. I'm just telling you the mindset that I'm coming from when somebody come talk to me like that. You hear what I'm saying? What I'm saying to you is that I seen a lot of, listen, there was a guy, and I've told this story before, right? This is when I was in the game. And my bottom girl, who was a blonde girl, beautiful, America's idea of beauty, met this dude who got out the feds. Handsome dude. And he used to sell drugs and stuff. But, you know, when you get out the feds, you got to have you a job. So he probably did a little pimping and sold a little drug. So he was the driver. So they start seeing each other. I didn't know none of this until about 3 months later. They start seeing each other and funning with each other and having sex for about 90 days, about 3 months. So I get the information and find out about it, and then I approach my bottom girl. And when I approach her, I said, listen, call the dude that's driving the cab and bring him up to the house. I'm living in a mansion on top of Forest Hills, doing my thing, a millionaire and having big money, right? With about 7, 8 women at the time, but this was my bottom. So I bring the dude up to the house, and I said, look, man, I said, I'm not worried about you funning with this girl. Now, I'm only talking about it from a game perspective. I'm not promoting something, but I'm telling the story to try to make a point to you, George. I told the dude, I said, look, man, I don't worry about you funning with this girl. This girl has sex for a living. But what I want to do is tell you that this broad here is using you, man. You can't hold this broad with no sex. This broad is a professional hoe. She don't care nothing about no sex. I said, as a matter of fact, had the broad ever given you any money? Well, no. I said, in the 90 days, the 3 months, those 90 days you guys been funning with each other, this broad done gave me $90,000. I said, as a matter of fact, my money been so good, I might keep you guys funning together. Right? So whatever he thought about how slick he was being, or that he was good looking and he could have sex with the broad and she's cute and all that, my perspective of the situation was so small. Trying to explain to him how small he was in that situation to try to help him. This broad is using you, boy. Right? So at the end, the dude said to me, please, Dre, don't tell nobody about this. Because I painted him the picture of what he thought was powerful was so small, so petty. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you come in and keep saying that because you a nice looking guy, that somehow that has some merit, I know ugly men that got beautiful women. That means nothing. This manhood is what means something, brother. And when I'm saying that the act that you having is unmanly, I'm not saying that you're not a man. I said that act is unmanly. You ain't got to listen to me. It don't matter. But I'm giving you this real because I lived it. All right.
They blocked them. Yeah, let's see. What other questions do you guys have? Remnant?
These peoples are crazy around here. All this little petty old stuff. Undeveloped minds. Get that one. How important is a friendship?
And respect in relationship.
Didn't we cover that? Oh, wait a minute. My friend here, I don't think I'm getting through to him. Cover that, Doug. She said she got somebody there with her. And
Yeah.
trying to
Friendship.
call out the name.
This is vulgar visuals. Friendship and respect in your relationship is very important. First of all, if a person doesn't feel like you respect them, you're not going to have a relationship. A lot of times people are in relationships for different reasons.
Tony, thank you for that 100. You
So,
came in
I
big
mean,
time.
You have to ask yourself, what type of relationship do you have? And if a person doesn't respect you, what are you allowing in your relationship? Where is your value? You know, it's very important. I think when we started off together, I mean, we got together in February. We met in October. We were married that same year. So you know what you know. You know, if you playing games in a relationship, you playing games. Point blank. You know, if you don't have, like I said, if you don't have somebody that's honest with you, and that's not going to maintain who they say they're going to be, then you're going to have all those things in your relationship. You're not going to be friends, because friends are honest with each other. Friends have integrity towards each other and all those things. And their character does not change. So it's very important. And if you don't have that, there's not going to be any respect, because there's going to be dishonesty and there's no manlyhood there. So,
and let me say this too. Listen, don't get distracted, right? This is for the men and women too. But let me just say this: how you show up has nothing to do with the woman. Do you understand? Listen, there's a video I got on YouTube that's called "Guard the Man." You know, a lot of men that struggle with all these things, loyalty and, you know, faithful and all this stuff, is because they really don't understand the value of manhood. Because if you really understood the value of manhood, you do nothing to violate it. Like I said earlier, I love the most important person in my life, but I'm not the man that I am because of her or for her. Right? The man I am is based upon the principles by which I live my life for, and anybody that come along is going to experience that with me. Right? So all those things have to do with you as a man, not her as a woman. Again, like we said earlier, don't ever tell me that you're waiting for a woman to be a woman in order for you to be a man. You got to express that I'm going to be a man regardless of whether you're a woman or not. My manhood is not predicated upon what you think about me, nor is it predicated upon you. And when you get passionate about your manhood and firm and strong about your manhood, you would see it like that. But a lot of you ain't passionate about your manhood because you done abused it all your life and it's nothing to you. Right? You haven't built any value into the man. This is why I talk about manhood, because it's damn near the most important thing to me outside of the Most High. Because there's nothing that I can offer the world greater than manhood and live it. So I'd be damned if I violate who I am because of somebody. That'll never happen, and it never has. I'm willing to die. You hear what I'm saying? I'm willing to die right now. I was willing to go to federal prison when I was in the game on American Pimp and didn't flinch because I talked about manhood right then. Underneath facing a life sentence, did I budge? You that saw the movie, did I budge? Well, that's how serious I am about it. And if you're not that serious about it, you will and can be penetrated. Somebody, when a client calls me, they say, man, I want to be a man. The first thing I ask them, what are you willing to lose and give up to be a man? And I've said this to many of you out there. And I tell them clients every time, there's a one-word response. What are you willing to lose and give up to be the man that you want to be? A one-word response, a one-word answer. And they say all kind of stuff. But until they get to everything, you will and you can be compromising your manhood.
Joe Blast, that can be directed to your question. That right there, that's the answer to your question.
Go ahead, whatever.
And also remember, the game, somebody said Andre keeps bringing up the game. Well, the game part is just knowledge with a flair.
Information.
The information that he gives is straight knowledge that's applicable in any area of your life. So if you stay relegated to the game, then you're only going to be able to apply that in one area.
Do I need to read the King James Bible from the beginning to from the beginning? I'm giving you the fundamentals of the King James Bible. I'm giving it to you in real time with daily fires. I'm giving you the information that the Most High has given to me to give to you. Yes, it's good that you read the Bible, necessary. But I'm giving you real life situations that you can apply to your everyday life that lines up to the Word of God, right? But I'm opening it up through revelation. Revelation is something that is revealed, that's opened up, that's broadened so that you can understand with clarity. Somebody can read the Word and they don't have the same kind of clarity, right? So what I'm trying to share with you through these daily fires are fundamentals for manhood and relationship building with the Most High. And then as you begin to read the scriptures, it is with different eyes and not eyes of religiosity, but clarity. But there are some things that you could do, put into work, put into action. I'm trying to get you into a mind frame of doing the work, right? I want you to do the work, manifest the work, and you'll have the life.
Maxwell says, does love overrule loyalty?
Listen, again, for a man, right? For a man, again, I'm trying to explain it to you one more time. My actions have nothing to do with the woman. You got to get your mind out of that. And then you have to give the woman the information that her actions have nothing to do with you. Right? That she's trying to align herself with something greater. That I'm trying to align myself with something greater. For instance, if I go out to a club, which I don't, but if I'm just giving an example, and Dub's talking to somebody and say, girl, you ain't worried about Andre going out? You know, girls gonna be trying to get at him and all that? Dub would say, am I worried about Andre going out? Listen, that man is willing to die before he offend his God. I'm not worried about me. I'm telling you who the man is. Before the man do anything to offend his God, the man would rather die. I'm not worrying at all. Which is why she was saying earlier that as long as she is aligned before the Most High, then I'm accountable to the Most High. I don't get away. You see how that trust happens? I'm accountable. So I know God got her covered. She has the information that she's accountable before the Most High, right? And God got me covered. So there's a peace in not having to worry about that little other stuff that carnal minds have to worry about all the time. Because this is a spiritual thing going on here. Much greater than some normal carnal thinking. This is spiritual. But you can't understand this until you start developing that relationship and putting the work in. You can't understand how this works. It looked like smoke and mirrors to you. When Dove says she doesn't argue, because you don't understand the spiritual implications of what she's saying. Why would she bring an argument to a man like me that's willing to die before I compromise my principles? Do you really want to go that far? Do you really want to deal with a man that's willing to die about his principles? And you want to bring a petty argument to a man like me? Are you serious? That's why she don't argue. Do you understand? It ain't worth it. I will go the distance, and I mean it. I stood up in American Pimp. I'm standing right now. In any situation that come, I'm standing in my manhood. This ain't nothing to play with around here. Yeah. Talking to some men out there.
All right, brother wise killer.
What?
All right.
What?
He said he was making a statement, not a question earlier. All right, got you. About the game and knowledge. That's what I'm saying about, manhood and womanhood. It's really not that important to argue your point with anybody, really, because nobody is that important,
Do I still get attracted to other women? No. Because it requires something than just what a woman looked like to attract me. Do you understand? It requires something, oh man. First of all, I come from the game, right? So in the game, we trying to get some money. So the money was elevated beyond what somebody looked like. So I already had a situation where I didn't look at a woman the same way that the average man looks at. Because there were certain things, somebody said, oh, she's cute. And I'm thinking about, girl, if you ain't about no money, you ain't about messing with me. So from the game, my vision about the value of what I thought a woman was, for me to diminish myself to have her, I wasn't having that kind of conversation, right? I'm already setting the stage for something that I'm bringing to the table that's valuable, that she could see the value in me as a man, which makes me different, right? And I'm not like her point of references. So it take a lot. There's a lot of attractive women out there, of course. You can see that everywhere. But it takes more to reach a man like me. It takes so much more to reach a man like me. You just don't get it, right? You just don't get it.
Well, so what are some examples of some principles you are willing to die for?
I'm willing to die right
That's
now.
by King,
I'm willing to die right now to believe what the Most High has given me in my fundamentals and the teachings and the lessons that He's given me. And the reason why I've been able to accomplish the things that I've accomplished in my life is because I was willing to die before I did not believe them. When I was facing a life sentence, when everybody in there was telling me don't go to trial because they got a 99 or 98 something percentage conviction rate, right? But I knew the Most High had given me some things. And I had said to them and everybody else around me, before I distrust God, well, somehow I don't trust what the Most High has given me for my future because the feds is involved. Somehow God's word is not effective anymore because the feds came involved. Well, bring their word. Now measure their word up with the Most High have told me. And if they want to see me go to trial, they're going to see me go to trial with my full commitment to the Most High. And it's the Most High that'll move in my behalf. I was willing to put my life on the line facing a life sentence. That's what I'm talking about. Those type of things.
Sabayo said, women rarely meet a man of principles, so they assume you are just a male when you first meet. What are some key points, mistakes to keep in mind when you initially try to show her you are different? First of all, when you meet a woman, they're not looking at you saying, is he a male or a man? Not a lot of people have that knowledge and information, so they're just looking at you as any other man. Like, this is another man coming and he's talking to me. So what they're looking for is for somebody to continue to be who they said they was going to be in the beginning. Believe me, women are observant unless they're looking for something else. Most women want to find somebody and they want to settle down. That is their heart's desire, is to be with somebody and be able to be all they can be for that person who is going to show up and be consistent. So women are not saying, is this guy a male or a man? You know, you have to present yourself as that. Now later on, they might say he's not manly or he's not a man, but they don't differentiate between male and man.
Yeah. So at any rate, you know, when it comes down to those things that I live my life for, I get extremely passionate about and ready to go to war at any moment.
This is a good one.
All right.
Mac Casino said, how many chances do you give a female to be a woman?
That's subjective, bro, because you got to be living in your manhood, you know, and it's not how many chances. I told you the only excuse a man has to stop when a woman is coming into his life is that woman decides that she wanted to stop. Other than that, you have to develop the appropriate genius to cultivate her wherever she is, and whatever baggage that she's brought into the conversation. You see what I'm saying? Calvin, thank you for that 25. So it's not I'm going to give you a certain kind of chances. You understand that nobody comes ready-made. And it's just like if a little child is, well, I tell you what, go to my website, gorgeousdre.com, and then look up, there's an audio I have on there that's called Practicing Truth. And I'm talking about, you know, that when a little 6 or 7 year old person, a child, is playing the piano and they're developing and learning how to play, that when the teacher hears them make a wrong sound, boom, then the teacher is not shocked by that nor surprised by that, because the teacher knows as the child is practicing and developing that there's going to be some mistakes along the way. That is a given, right? So as a teacher, I'm already knowing that in this process of them getting this new information, that there's going to be a lot of things that have to be developed and learned, a lot of mistakes, a lot of falls, right? But it's just a fall in practice, which is why I'm saying to you, as long as a woman is continuing to practice, right? And she said, I don't want to practice no more, right? Now, if she said, I don't want to practice anymore, then that's different. But as long as she continuing to practice, and you see a woman, you know, is really doing the best she can, because everybody grows differently. Everybody receives the information differently, right? Everybody's not the same. So as a man, you got to give space for that if you're walking in your manhood, right? Because you want to see her win. You want to develop that. I never had no woman come ready-made for me. Of course, there was a lot of great principles and, well, great things about each particular woman, but nobody was ready-made because nobody had my information. So when I began to distribute my information, I understood the greatness of this information is going to take a period of time. So I'm not looking at her, how many chances I'm going to give her to make a mistake. I don't even think like that. My thought is, along this journey, as long as you keep putting this work in, you're going to get it right.
I think with me, it was like I made plenty of thousands of mistakes. But I think what keeps a person motivated to continue to put in you is watching you bounce back. If you see that mistake and you want to continue on and you recognize your error and you want to practice in doing the right thing, then that person says, okay, I will continue to sacrifice to give this girl this information because I see that she wants it. Now, we go back to earlier when we said, well, when that person say, I don't want to be big no more, and they ain't trying to implement the information no more, then that's it. That's a done deal. You know, you don't have to waste your time. But then a man will continue to give the information and allow that woman just to fall off on her own. And then that way she can't never turn back and say, he did this and he did that. No, that man never changed. And even though I was like this, he continued being who he was. That's a man.
Wanton Hoops, what's your thought on a black man choosing a white woman over a black woman in this day and age? I feel like most black women feel betrayed. I'm not, this might be a good one for you to answer. I'm not sure that somebody is choosing a white woman over a black woman. I think people are just having different experiences. Give you a perfect illustration. In Seattle, right? Well, in Washington State, black people make up like 7% of the population, right? And so in Seattle, it's smaller than that, right, in the city. So the black male population, you know, is maybe, let's say 50% of that, maybe 4% or 3% in the city. So you got a small number of black males. Then you add in incarceration. That takes another percentage away, right? Then you add in if maybe they're gay. So that takes another percentage away for women. So what you have is a small amount of black men that then has, you know, a rampant amount of opportunities around them. I think a lot has to do with that, right? Instead of somebody choosing somebody. And then curiosity. I remember when I was a young man, a teenager, I wanted to have an experience with a white girl. I wanted to have an experience with an Asian girl. I wanted to have experience with a Mexican girl. You know, I wanted to have these experiences based on my curiosity only, you know. But ultimately, I knew that, you know, I would be with a black woman. Now, I've been married to a white woman, to a black woman. Now I'm married to a woman that's black and white, but she's black, right? So I've had 3 experiences, you know. One was like from the game, one was from the church, and then this situation now that I've had for 21 years. So each situation provided something different for me, right? That I had to experience that. But in the game, it wasn't that I was choosing a white woman. We know that the idea of beauty in America is a white blonde woman. So in the game, my perspective was, if that's what the percentages of men want to experience, then I want to have as many white women as I can for money. You know what I'm saying? I had a different mindset then. That didn't mean that I didn't have black women. I had all kind of women when I was in the lifestyle. But I remember one day, this is when I was in the game, you know, and I was having a conversation with my father. And I said, Dad, man. He said, what, son? I said, man, I got this strong urge that I just need to have me a black woman. You know what I'm saying? And my dad was like, you a black man, right? But I'm talking about after all those experiences, it came back to the point that I needed to have me a black woman, right? So in any experience that I have, I wasn't looking for the person. I wasn't looking for Dove. Dove just happened, right? A lot of people don't be looking for the people that they end up with. It'd be organic situations that bring people together. If they happen to be white, they're white. If they happen to be Mexican and all that, they happen to be that. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, you know, just because of the condition of black men, prison and, you know, and other things, you know, if they're gay or, you know, and things of that nature, has given black men more of an opportunity, more of a, you know, because we're so small in numbers. So, and very highly desired from so many different races, you know, just highly desired. So, you know, that's my response to that. You want to look at something?
To LaShawn Peterson, you said, my guy is a man but not ready to settle, and I love him. Am I stupid to wait? I want to be the woman that is in his life for life. I can't imagine myself with anyone but him. He doesn't feel the same.
He doesn't feel the same.
I mean, to answer that question, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of you guys' relationship. You know, are you guys monogamous? I mean, are you guys together? How long have you been together? I mean, depends on age and things like that. So I would say if a person has been with somebody for a long time and that person doesn't want to commit, is it just a marriage license that's keeping you from feeling like he's not yours, or you guys don't have the relationship that you want? I'm not sure. You know, like I said, it's hard for me to answer that because I don't know. Fix that, babe. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're in the process. We only got a little. Our time is running out.
Yeah, we over too.
So we're gonna answer maybe one or two more questions.
Let me see. We've been best friends for 5 years and live with each other.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
Let me just say this to you. You said he doesn't feel the same. So there's amount of value that has to be put into relationships. Sometimes in sales they call it the takeaway close, right? So
they're in their 40s.
Mm-hmm. In sales, it's called the takeaway close. So, like if you're going to get a car, right, and the salesman says, you know, well, this white one and this blue one is available, but that red one is not. Automatically, you want the red one. It's called the takeaway close, right? So, in relationships, a lot of times you got to take something away in order to build value with it, right? Right now, that where you are at right now, you're not satisfied with, but he's satisfied with it because he feels he has everything. He got his cake and he could eat it too. You created that environment for him to have that, right? A lot of times, the only way you know if you got something or if he values you in your life is you got to begin to pull away. As difficult as that might sound, you're going to know the truth. You're going to know the truth if you start pulling away some, you know, and letting him know that this situation is not okay for you and what you want. And if he feels that, you know, your opinion in the situation is not worth anything, then I don't know how far that relationship's going to go over these 5 years that you guys have been together, because obviously you're not satisfied, and he seems to be extremely satisfied, right? So that's what I would say to you. Sometimes you got to do the takeaway close.
On this question,
one more question
from Matt Pacino, what are your thoughts on our black women acting masculine these days. They're in strip clubs, drinking out of bottles, doing everything that they see men do that looks cool. I want to expound on this the next time I'm on here because the Holy Ghost gave me something very profound. And I want to expound on that. But right now it goes back to what I said earlier. They're acting this way and doing these things because that's what we're uplifting. We're applauding those things. We're applauding them in the strip clubs. We're applauding them drinking out of bottles. And again, it goes to show the relationship with Yah. And it goes to show pleasure. It goes to show what people hold most valuable, where people are at in their life. There's so many different things, but there's something I will share the next time I'm on here, which will apply to this and give a lot of answers as to why us as black people do a lot of things that we do and are at the places that we're at in our lives right now.
Come up, son.
So yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
So we're going to have to go. We're going to sign off. Hope you guys enjoyed what Dove had to say. I always enjoy it. I get to live with it every day. So anyway, love you guys. Remember, you're beautiful. It's your time. It's our time. You know, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Thank you very much, Maxwell. We love you guys.
Love you, Remnant.
Peace. This is for the Remnant. Holla.